Okay, I was asked to finish my project 2 as an example, and then make a final copy for everybody to look at. And I hadn't finished page 2. This is the original page 1 that I did, and I played with it a little bit in classes, showing how to do the shadow box and everything. But if I'm going to finish it, I actually don't like this layout as much as I could. And so I'm going to quickly redo the page 1 and then finish page 2, hopefully without taking too much of my time. So I'm going to start off by taking this story. I want the top story to go all the way across and bring the one column story down lower. So I'm going to bring this out and bring that out. I'm not sure why I'm having stuff disappear out in the pasteboard for some reason. I'm not sure why it's disappearing out there. Never has before. So I'm putting the edges of it as best I can on me so I can see it anyway. I don't know what's happening here. Let me go back up to view and see if maybe it's put out. Oh yeah, it looks like a final view. Okay, I need to go view sets and go to authoring again. Okay, now under authoring I can see everything. So I'll put everything on the pasteboard now. Okay, so I want this top story to go all the way across, and for the bottom ones not to. So I'm going to do that. First off, I had a box around it. If it goes all the way across, it doesn't need the box around it. So I'm going to zoom in here, and I'll go Control 1 for now, and take out the graphic box here, and I'll keep it somewhere handy to use later, perhaps, for the other story that I'm going to choose. I'm going to tell it to come to front because it doesn't want to move right now, so I'm going to tell it to come to front, and then I should be able to move it off to the side. I'm still trying to change the size of it and not the position of it. Oh, there it goes. Okay. I'm just going to move it out here for now, and I may use it later, although drawing a new one isn't that hard. But I'm trying to do this quickly now to show what I think is a better layout. So I'm going to go ahead and put the top picture up to the corner. And I'm going to probably not use this. I might use it. I will for now. I'm going to put it out in the outside, so I'm going to turn it black first off just so I can see it. Maybe I'll turn it dark blue for now. And I will move it out also off the page. I may or may not use it. This I'm going to bring down because if I'm going to stretch it wider, I don't want it to be taller. So I'm going to go ahead and bring the box down maybe about in here, and so I'm going to okay, I see that's the headline box there that's trying to come out with me. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stretch the photo box out the full width. See where it went depth-wise. Put this on up to the top. Oops, wrong one. Grab this. Okay, that's a picture box. I need to go to the item tool and get rid of that extra little picture box. Move up the real picture box. go ahead and get rid of that little smidgen of one that I accidentally made. And again, bring the photo box to the top. And I'm going to tell it to match, fit the okay, scale picture to box, and let's see what happens. Okay, so it's the bottom, I think, will be lined up, and now I'm just going to stretch the top of the picture upward. That's the part that's going to get cut off. I'm going to crop out a lot of blue sky this time. And it just needs to go a little bit higher. It won't let me go higher. I'll go up to Control 0. And it still doesn't let me go higher. Let me see what's over here now. Why is that not showing up? Oops. Okay, everything's trying to fight me right now. Again, I went to the picture. Okay, I need to go to item. We'll go. No, it's still trying to fight me. Okay, so my intent was to stretch this photo out to all 4 columns in a tabloid. That is the number of columns we should have in the tabloid. And still leave, make the mountains bigger, make the person bigger, still have enough blue sky to put the main headline on top of it. So I'm going to get something like that and click out of there. Now I'll go back in and grab the headline and it's trying to fight me a little bit. Put the headline up in here. And again, that's why I took the blurb out. It's possible I could put it down here someplace, perhaps, but there's not enough room up top anymore. Let me try. I'm not sure that there's a color option for me to take that I'm going to like. If I make it white, it's there's some white in the background, so I'm not sure that will work. But let's try it anyway and see if it will work. I will bring it back into this area and see if we can read the blurb. in there. It kind of looks like we can. Let me go to Control 1. Other stuff here in the way. Now I'm screwing this all up. And yeah, it does look okay. So I'll leave the blurb there. I need to bring the text box down. And for now, I'll put the caption up here. I could have put maybe the caption on the side, like I've done with some of the others, so it doesn't need to be quite so wide, but I kind of do like this picture at full size like this. The other problem, though, is what happened to my subheadline. Now this is I'm going to make it into more columns, but this has to go down here someplace. Here's the caption that actually was written for the one of the watermelon, but now I don't think we'll use the watermelon anymore. And I'm not sure, before we used the caption as a, or the blurb as kind of the caption too. Because it doesn't really need, I don't think I could use, no, anyway, I think the blurb is enough. Now up here someplace is the headline hidden underneath. So I'm going to tell the photo to go back and send to back, so that I can get to the subheadline and bring it down. It is possible in this to keep it like it is, but it's not that hard to enlarge it either, because I haven't mentioned Xiamen University. I'm going to localize it. So and since the top is, while it may be extra bold or something, it's extra bold white, I'm not going to feel bad if I go ahead and make this bold. So let's see, where are the other tools here? They've disappeared. I'll have to open those in a second. Several things got closed off here. Well, I'm going to go, for the moment, go to the character style, or just up to modify, I think, and change the text to hello. Let me see. Why am I not seeing the text style? Seems to be emphasizing the paragraph. Let me actually select the text. Oops. And hit modify. What we're looking to do is put it still seems to be concentrating on the box instead of the text. Okay, why is not the in case this little box up here disappears on you, It is called measurements, and again, that's what we're seeing when we go to different things, clicking on a photo, clicking on a headline, clicking on a box, whatever. And so we've been using it, but I accidentally turned it off. So if you accidentally turn it off, it is going to Window and Measurements, F9 on the keyboard, to turn it back on again. I had to find that before I could go on. Okay, so we have major headline up here. What I was saying then is, in here, I thought we could go to maybe Arial Black and fill that space easily. It's actually a little bit too big. So we will go down to about, I'm guessing 27 point. I guess we could go 28. I was really going to say 28, and I didn't believe me. I should believe me more often. Okay, so we have the subheadline, which is about as dominant. It's big enough to be a regular headline, but we have technically the regular headline up. It's a hammerhead, however. We have a hammerhead up top, and we have a rather big and bold subheadline down here. I'm not sure about having the blurb that close to the headline. That's a new question. Control 1 here to see what I'm seeing here. Okay, so the picture is not quite over to the margin. That's the problem. I thought I had it up there, but it needs to be just a little bit bigger to go over the text box, and so that we can bring this blurb over as close as possible as well. And it looks best down here for just looking at itself, but it's awfully close to the other headline. It may work okay. We'll leave it for now. We need to bring the text box itself up, and it needs to be more than that many columns. So here's 2 columns. We will go. Let's see what it looks like 3 across 4. See what that looks like. So again, coming back out again, Control 0. I think I'm going to go to 4. 4 is still, the columns are still pretty wide on 4. I'm going to stay with 4. Looks like it's not stretched all the way out the border either, since I had it in a box before. I have to make sure it's all going out where it's supposed to go. Okay. With this, we don't have a good vertical alignment yet. I'm going to bring this down just a little bit, see where we're at. It is pretty close. It's funny, those didn't come down before. Very close. So I'm going to go ahead and accept that. I'm going to, now it's best to do your jumps in a separate box and put it in here, and again turn on the wraparound on it. Get rid of this stuff. And so we draw into the text box up here. We don't have our jump lines yet. I don't think I see them over here. So this will be continues on page 2. I noticed I didn't really make a pronouncement as to whether this should be serif or sans serif. I was making it serifed, but I noticed that some people were making it sans serif, and I decided that does look a little better actually. So I'm going to make it that, and I'm going to tell it to align right, and I'm going to save this as a style, and move the stuff around a little bit. So this would be, because I want it to be aligned right and all of that, this would be a paragraph style. So I'll put a plus there and name this jump to, so as opposed to jump from. So I will move this in. The other thing I need to save with it is a runaround. I'll turn on the runaround, and I need to call it item, or runaround doesn't work. And I will just put a little bit of runaround on each side. You can actually stretch out the box to make it more runaround. So I guess on the edges you should have it more. Because if you stretch this the whole width of the, no, I'm thinking the wrong thing here. Not a caption, this is a jump box, jump line. So I will just save it there, and I will go down and I will here well, the runaround's on the box, so that has to be an item. I guess I'll just leave it like that. Okay, so I will come in here. This jump line is too big, I think, too big as far as type size. What is that? I want that to go back down to 10. It looks enough different. I don't think it needs to be too big, so I'm going to bring it down and make it look like that. And I think that'll be easier to line those up, and that is pretty well lined up, I think, there. Okay, so I've redone the top of this. That means to fit this in, it's going to have to fit in down in this space, so these stories have to move over. So I'll take care of them first and then leave a space in here for this. And I will probably start off here. I don't think I'll need the shadow box anymore, so I'll take the shadow box out, and I will bring down the text box, and oopsie, I didn't mean to do that. Undo something there. Okay, what I wanted to do was make it deeper and just one column. That's what I wanted to do. And then make this one column, this text box, just one column, because it is going to be pushed over. And not going to have that much space because we've got a box coming in here on the right side. So I'm going to bring it over here. And the text box needs to go over there, excuse me. And I need to zoom in, go Control-1 to see, take a look at this. This photo is probably going to have to be cropped down, the caption underneath it. I see I've moved the photo, but not the photo box. So you get that photo in right place, and now the question: how does do I make that? Maybe I need the photo box a little smaller, the photo smaller. What do I need to do here? I need to move it up and bring the photo box up. It has something more like that to do. me try that and bring the caption over. So I might have to go up just a little more, or rewrite the caption, as the case might be. I do need to come down just a little bit. I may have to go to 200% to, as I've said in the past, sometimes it's, if you zoom up, then you can, then it doesn't jump to the grid so easily, because we're too tight here. So I need to bring this, the caption box down, and yet it's going to fight if it's at 100%. It was fighting and trying to jump up to match that, and we can't do that. We need to bring it down. So when you zoom up to 200% or thereabouts, you can use the zoom tool and just zoom exactly what you need to see. Then you can think that the text boxes don't jump to the grid system. So you're better off. So I'll go back to Control 1. And so we have that story. We don't have the headline done. Students relish oh, it's to make it fit. I'm going to have to cut some words out. And however, I can make it a little bit bolder. So I'm going to select that. And I don't think, no, it is bold, not very bold. If I go to the text, I can again go over here to widen the letters with this little stretch scale text horizontally. I can make it a little bit wider. This jumps up too much at a time though, so I know it's going to be too far. So I'm going to go up, I'll try 105%. And that makes it okay. Maybe 206% might be better. Maybe 107. Let me go 107. Okay, that fits perfectly. So it's a little bit bolder, not any more point size. It's not, doesn't take more space. It's just a little bit bolder. And using that tool, bring in the text box here to get it out of the way. So we have a subhead, 7 countries vie for first place in tour. I think that's okay. Considering the limited space we have, I think it's fine. And bring out the box. So we'll need a jump line here also. And we need to line up the text at the bottom. So I will do that in a second also. Except we need a jump line. So actually the jump line will be what we need to line up. So actually I can bring this up. And now we'll go make a copy of that other jump line. Actually the easiest way. And so I'm just going to hit Control C. Come back. I'm holding down the Alt button so I can drag this around with the Alt button down. Down here, hit Control V to paste. And there's our jump line from up top. And again, zooming in even a little bit closer perhaps to make it line up just right, I will go again to the zoom tool and just go over like this so I can see how it lines up with the caption and bring it down. It's still fighting me a little bit. I'm going to need to bring down a line just to, where is it? I didn't get it. There. I'm going to line up right on the baseline, and maybe I'll line it up at the lowest descender, and that'd be the P, and try to get the G to come down to that, and it did. Okay, so we've got a little space here. That's not excessive space between the jump line and the into the text, but we have a situation where it's trying to cut a word in half. Even cutting a sentence in half is not good, but a word in half is not acceptable. To have to go to the jump to figure out what the word is. So I'm going to I am going to increase the leading. These two paragraphs, it's at 20% above, so basically it's 10 points, so at 20% it's saying it's 20% more than that, so it's basically 12 point of leading. So we'll go up a little bit, and so it kicks out that first line of this next paragraph, and that's better. It's best to start with a new paragraph on page 2, but I don't require that. But don't let a word cut in half. That's too much to expect the reader to remember what's on one page when he goes to the next one. Okay, so going up here, we're also going to have to shrink this story. I see I had some editor notes in here from a long time ago when I was editing these stories for the students. I'll get rid of that editor's note. And we're going to move this over also before we put in the other story. So going up, this text box needs to shrink into 3 columns. And so it also will end up being jumped. And we need to go into the text box and change that to 3 columns, because 4 across 3 is too small. And go back up to Control 1 to see how we can redo that headline. Record-breaking runner shares secrets. I can make it a little bit smaller and just end with secrets. It's kind of an intriguing headline. I think I will do that. But it's going to have to select it and make it a little bit smaller. So we're going up to text. We will go down to 30 point, probably, to make it fit in here. I'm just guessing, but it looks like we can go 31, so we just need to go down 1 point size. We'll go to 31, and that fits nicely. We will bring maybe I may have to, in order to get to not move over, I may have to leave the text box here into the gutter a little bit, but it's not really, the letter's not going into the gutter, but if I bring it all the way in, it may force that word to go someplace else. And it doesn't. It's so far so good. Okay, well, I'll take it all the way over then. Okay, so in here, this is where we would now put this photo. So we would have to create our triangle. The way I'm envisioning it is the photo will go up here. Let's take a look at Control 0. And then the story will go underneath it. This might have to be cropped a little tighter, probably. And it's going to have to be in a box. I'm tempted to, in order to get this away from this, is move this and flip the photo, move it over here, and that would be a better layout. And maybe I will put the watermelon girl up in here to give us a little bit more, one more piece of art. Even though we have the triangle, I might put watermelon girl up here yet. But seeing where we're at now, I'm thinking this photo and this should change places. So I'm going to have to go back down, Control 1, and in order to get a better triangle, more dynamics, I am going to have to move this over. So I'm going to grab all of this, and I'm just going to go from outside. I showed in class of the day, if I draw a box when I'm in when I'm in this mode, in the item tool mode, and I draw a box over, now it's selected also the main headline. I don't want to move the main headline, so I'm going to hold down the shift button and click on that, and that will unclick the headline. But I have the subheadline. I left too much space for that. I need to make a change on that too. So I have all these selected, so I can take this whole thing as a package and move it over. And now move the photo. And whether there's two, I'm just clicking them. Click on one and shift click on the other to choose them both. And move them both over to the right, or to the left rather, and then go back here, and again, I don't have to go all the way around, and I just have to touch each of them, and now it selects all of them. I can move this whole package over. And so now we'll separate the photos a little more. And but I noticed I left too much space up here earlier, and I didn't correct that. So I'm going to correct it now and bring the story up in here. And so we're back to where we were with this line jumping. So actually, if I go back and select these two paragraphs again, and if I change them back, going to the, I guess that'd be paragraph. No, it isn't. The text box? That wouldn't be right. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's the leading here. It is under paragraph, but because part of what I selected is one size and one's the other, I guess. I don't know. So I'm going to make this all, I think that is, oh, it's at, should be 20, I believe, is what we have, what we should have there. Would be the normal. And so now another line came in. Now it's also trying to cheat. It's still complicated. If I let's see what happens if I put a line break here. That'd be Shift Enter. See what happens. Okay, so that does justify out. And let's see if I do a Shift Enter here, if that will also justify out. Okay, I jumped to page 2 for some reason. It jumped me there real quick. Let me go back up to page 1. And okay, so that was the solution. Just hit a Shift Enter before that word that was breaking. Now go down again, and now you see the G's at the bottom here. The P is, I'd say we're close enough. Okay, so now, except this is going, looking off the page, so I'm going to go to Modify, and I'm going to go to Picture and tell it to unflip horizontally. I'd already flipped it once, so I'm going to go back to what it was before and apply that, and now he's going the other direction. So I flipped him before, now he's unflipped. Okay, so now we need to put a box around this. So either I go get that box that I already had. It's actually easier just to create a new box. So I'm going to create a box that's even with the top of the headline, approximately, and bring this down. And it should also be lined up with the G, which is right. I'll adjust it here. And it needs to have some color in it, so I'll go over until I want the frame over here in the palette to be black. I don't need anything other than black there. I may need, I need to double check and see that it made it black. It says it's black, so I guess it did. Sometimes it's hard to tell whether it's actually turned to black, but maybe what I probably did wrong is I have not designated how big it should be. I need to go up and click on the frame and make it more than 0. So it did not have a frame yet, but it was not more than 0. And so now I'll bring it down again. So we have our frame. This can now be a little bit smaller. Oops. Yeah, I guess I go with the text tool. No, I think item tool. This is, the box is on top of it, so again, I'm going to have to tell the box to go back, the frame, and I'll send it back so I can get to the photo. It's not letting me get to the photo. So now I'll go ahead and, I'll go ahead and make the photo just a little bit smaller. And it, I'm going to zoom in again so I can see it a little better and make sure it's so that the frame needs to come down. So this is the photo frame, and bring it out. Looks like the photo frame there is fine. It's just showing us more of the photo as I adjust the photo frame on each side. While I have this here, it's best if I go ahead and draw in some, bring in some ruler guides so that all the headlines and everything can match the edge of the photo. So they all come out at the same spot. So the text box and the headline box should be even with the photo. So now we have that. I don't know if did we ever have a caption for that? I don't see a caption. So I'm just going to hit Control C, Control V, and put, where did the V go to? Oh, there it is here. Okay, so I landed the caption over here. I will bring that over here, a copy of that. Now, the other question I had was whether to put another picture of Watermelon Girl up here. I can do some cropping and make that work. I think we don't need it for the triangle, but I do think it makes it a little more dynamic. Either that or put in a pull-out quote. And since I wanted to demonstrate pull-out quotes, maybe I will need a new pull-out quote. Maybe that is a good place for a pull-out quote. So if we already have a blurb, maybe that's where I put the blurb. Well, then we have the okay, hit Control 1 again on the keyboard so I can see this. This pull-out quote does not go with the story, so I need to either change it, maybe put this blurb into it. And it might be better. So a blurb can go inside, so it's not a direct quote if I put it in there, but it can go inside of a Control X and take it out of there. It can go inside of a shadow box as well. And so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that box. And even make it a little bit wider and shorter. It was with that side, big size of type anyway, it was it was splitting too many words. But here we need to click into this and push some of this text out of the way. So again, here we would go into the runaround and increase the bottom. There's no bottom right now, so we will kick some text below it out of the way. Yeah, that's probably good. What we see we have now, every time you change one thing, you have other stuff to change. So I say the first column and the last column line up, and it's the middle columns that don't. So we actually could, in this case, maybe the easiest way is to just keep giving more envelope to this until it comes down and matches. We'll just give ourselves a little bit more white space there, and we will have a match. It's maybe not quite matching. It's close though. I think we're okay. Okay, so going back down, here's a story from down here. We do not, well, I see I put in a caption box here, but not a caption, really. I don't remember if I had a caption when I used this before or not. Maybe not. So in here, I'm going to write a quick caption. Okay, so I have that. I can now bring this in, bring this down. Plop this in here. And we have to zoom in a little bit to make sure that fits correctly. So we'll zoom in here. And make sure, yeah. Too much. Okay, holding down the Alt key, being patient for it to come up, bringing the text box over to the green line so it's not touching the graphic box. Now the problem here was this headline is too big for this. I could just make it a little smaller. It's already, let's see what it is. It's 27 points. I can easily go down to 24. I can see I have a little bit of problem here, and then I have this subheadline next to it. But do that. And I want to do Shift Control, comma, or smaller, lesser than. It looks like on your keyboard. So this fits, doesn't give us much of the story. I think I should really go to 3 lines here, but community and celebration are pretty big lines. I'm going to just take out community, and so we have a little more space. And I can actually bring this back up now just a little bit, probably 25. Okay. So I will now copy. Oh, I didn't change the tagline here either. So that needs to be in my single. Well, no, I didn't. Racing. Zoom in to make sure that's okay, but I'll do this other one first. And that needs to go down in here. And equalize, well, I guess the box equalizing with the jump line next to it. Okay, this one I need to go up to 200% or something, so I'll go up to 200%. That should have, they should make 200% with a keyboard command, but they don't. So I need to first off, it does look like the single quote. Undo that. Hold down the Alt button, and I need a single quote mark there and there, and single quote mark here and here, and this needs to change to notice. And then see if we can fit in. I would say that what we're facing here is I did put, I think, a little bit of buffer, a little bit of wraparound on the top of it, and I'm not sure I should have. I think we can fit another line here, but I may have to maybe shrink the leading on the paragraph above it. But first off, I'm going to go here and see, check its wraparound, run around, whatever you want to call it, take off the one off top, and it is letting it in, but it is tight. So I am going to go ahead and select the paragraph above it and tell it to be just a little bit smaller. So it's at 20% now. I'm just going to try like maybe 18%. And that should be okay. It backs off just enough to let it breathe a little bit. Now, one thing to make note of here, what lines up with this jump line on the left, the right one, the right does not line up with it. What lines up with it is the graphic box. And it is approximately lining up at the bottom of the G. So when you have a box, you're not lining up with what's inside the box, you're lining up with the box. So page, the G, the descender, is more or less touching the same level as the graphic box next to it. Okay, so I think we have pretty much the front page done now that I've redone it. And I like this design better, personally. I might prefer to put the Watermelon Girl up here. And as it is, I took out some of the brown on the page, and therefore I'm not sure that this is the right color. If I'm going to just leave the shadow box, so instead of being dusty, that was based on selecting a color in her picture, I'm going to make that sky blue and match the blues and the colors. Okay, I think I have all those done. Now, what we don't have, I need to see what I have down here. I'm not even sure which stories I already moved down here, so I need to check that out. But I should be able to tell which ones I don't have by whether there's a red box at the end of them. So I'm not going to zoom in right now. I'm going to go up here. I have a red box here that says I don't have all that story, and I have a red box here. So I know which stories I don't have. So I can go ahead and create some text boxes out here and out here. And then I can go click the linking tool here, click on this story and this story, and fill that frame, and then unclick that, go to someplace else. I can start over again, go back into that, and now this is saying, oh, that's because I hit the wrong one, duh. I want to unlink this one. Sorry. So with unlink, I'm going to hit this and then this. And unlink it. Unlink this. Unlink it. Well, maybe I need to unlink that. Unlink this from this. Unlink, 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 unlink. Okay, I seem not to be able to do that. So it's fighting me at that. I linked the wrong boxes, but I have almost all the text in this box. Therefore, I'm just going to kill this box here. And if I kill this box, since there's nothing in it, I need to click it with the item tool and get rid of that box. Okay, so instead of that, I would just go up now and get that second text box and bring it down. What did that jump in here for? Okay, so that one I want to bring over here, and I will mess with that a little bit in a second. So next I will jump this one. So I will hit link that one to this one. That is the, why isn't it going? There it is. So it apparently, unless maybe I killed some of the story before, I don't know. Doesn't seem like very much. Maybe it wasn't a very big story. So I'll bring that into that space and put that into a box, maybe. If I don't like boxes next to photos. For now, I'll put it out here, and then I'll decide what to do with it. Maybe I need to make this a full 4-column jump. There's quite a bit of jump and another nice photo, so I may make that a jump. And I have still another jump I need to worry about that I mistook before, and I will link this story with this story. Not a lot of that either. Okay, so I will bring that story down also. When I go too far, it tends to want to jump to whole nother software. Okay, because these are not very big, now I didn't want to use another story in this but maybe I should demonstrate what I was going to demonstrate the other day. So I am going to actually and purposefully, first off, bring this over here. And I'm going to put in a new story up the top. If I have one, I think I must have one. Because that's what I told you guys to do. If you have an extra story and you want to use it, your new story should go to the top. So let me go see. I know I had another story. I just don't remember what it is. I'm going to go ahead and make myself, I am going to put it across all 4 columns across the top. And I'm going to put in a headline box. And I will put in a text box. And I'm just going to go in here now and hit Control-E in the keyboard, which is, you can go to File and do this if you want to, but you want to import text. So I'm going to hit the text. We did the hiking, so which one did we leave out of this one? It seems like it would be, okay, we have Naris, we have the hike, and we have the motorcycle. Oh, I know what it was. We left out parking. Okay, so parking is what we needed. So we'll bring in the parking story, make that 4 columns. And we don't have great photos for that, but we do have photos. Let me click in here and put in a headline first and the byline. We have garbage. Put in the headline in the headline box, even though we may not use it like that. I think that may be one I wrote for the broadsheet, so maybe I can use that. Get rid of the extra space, click on the byline. I already saved the, I believe the byline, there it is, byline style. I already saved that one in the previous class. However, I see all of this is screwed up. I don't know why it's screwed up. There are extra spaces in each in the story I've got to get rid of. Or let me just hit backspace. Maybe they are indents, most of them. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and hit Control-A inside the box and tell it to, it has to be made into body text, but I'm going to tell it no style first in case it brought in some garbage from some hidden stuff from Word, and hit body text. And some extra paragraphs at the bottom we don't need. And I still have a tab I need to get rid of, and a tab to get rid of. Got rid of those. Now we can go ahead and make the headline first. Maybe that looks like it. I can make that fit. Won't be so long that it'll be a good size. It'll be more than 36, I'm sure. So I'm going to just, once I've selected it, hold down Shift and Control and hit the period or greater than sign and just let it go out as big as it will. But it's too deep now, so I need a deeper graphic box. I need this to align left. And it is maybe too big. It's 60 point. Let me go down, Shift Control comma or lesser than with parking. So it's now 36. We have a lot of space there, so we just it's not one of the regular sizes, but let's go to 40. Let's go to 42. And let's go to 43. Well, that fills the space at 43. And we can decrease the amount of headline space there now. And we can bring in a photo. So we'll go ahead and hit the photo box. And in a 4-column, I think the best place to put it is in the middle. No, or in the right. Maybe I'll put it in the right. And then I'll put a photo below it in another story, that other photo towards the left. So bring this up. Also just bring it up a little bit up to the headline text box. I'll double click into here and look for the parking photos. And I think I'll still stay with this one. This one, some of them just aren't real obvious what's going on. This one is a little more obvious. I'm going to click on that one and hit OK. And tell it to right click and tell it to scale picture to box. So the question is whether to, I would say we can go make that bigger and crop from the top. So I'm going to go ahead and stretch we're going to crop this. I don't want to get too wide, however. Well, actually, that may be best we're going to do on this one. And bring up the photo box and click out of it, and that should crop it to the size we wanted. And I'm going to just go up and maybe I think there was a caption with this photo down here. I'll still make a copy of that, and just to have the box, and hopefully it has some bring that up as a caption for this. I'll have to be worded, of course. And let me see just how much left we have of the story. Okay. Okay, and rewrite it real quick. Okay, so we have a top story in there. I see somehow we have this paragraph broken. And I want to go ahead and put a drop cap in here to emphasize that this is a new story. I don't usually put drop caps on jumps, but I do like to do it. Like say if I have a new story on there, then that makes sense to use a drop cap. Okay, so let's see, where do I find the drop cap? Not there. That would be paragraph. Again, you have to kind of think logically. It's paragraph because it's because it has to adjust the whole paragraph. You know, you by putting one drop cap, the whole paragraph has to change, and you're going to have to probably make some other changes too, such as taking off the first line indent of that. It looks better if you take off the first line indent of a drop cap. Now I actually had saved it over under here actually, but anyway, that's so I could have just used my style sheet, but I didn't. So that's and I didn't redo the byline. That one I will use the style sheet for. And so we've got a nice drop cap in there. We've got I'm going to go ahead and not enough space, I don't think, between the caption and the story. I'm going to bring that down a little bit. Also looking at vertical justification, but that he says where it ends. So that lines up, although we've got a quote. Something odd here with this quote is not, it should be with the period or with the comma there. And I can't see why it is not. There should be comma, and then delete whatever is between it and the quotation mark. Okay, that's probably okay, although it looks like it's the wrong direction. I'm going to have to go up to 200% again and look at that. There's something wrong with that. Yeah, we've got a backwards quote mark. So let me put in the double quote again and get it to go correct. Okay, so we have Control 1 again. These lines are pretty well lined up, except for this first one. It has basically just one line too much, which is odd that the others don't have another line trying to come down. Let me see if I just bring this up a little bit. Why is it kicking this one over? Doesn't make sense for that to kick over that quickly. Well, I don't know. It seems to be odd, but I'm going to just, I'm going to combine these two paragraphs. It's longer than I'd like to combine, but it's doing something strange here, so I am going to combine that. The one above it is a little bit short. This one is a little bit long. This is not how I would write them, but because it's doing strange things there, I'm going to do that. And take my chances with the teacher, see if he downgrades me for that. Wicked teacher. Okay, so I think that story's done. So now we can finish up the other stuff. This one also has a photo, and so I'd like to put this one in next. So I'm going to go ahead and move the headline box back up into position. And I think I want it to go all the way across also. We won't have a graphic box here. Move this. We'll need a jump line, but not yet. And move this out to 4 columns and tell it I want 4 columns up here. That would be Not the runaround. Should be there. Where it is. Okay. Maybe I just overlooked it. 4 columns. So I'm going to go ahead and bring that picture in. I think this is the right mountains. I'm going to go up to Control 0 so I can see her a little bit more. I'm going to bring this down. It's going to be hard putting everything in here. So I had her pretty big, but I may have to crop her down a little bit. Maybe crop her down to both size her down and crop her down to 2 columns. So first off, size it smaller. Okay, I'm going to go down here and take a closer look. I want the box itself to be in here. Oops, wrong box, I think. That's the text box. I do need to tell it to go to the back so I can get to the photo. So I'm going to tell it to go to back. And now I want this to I want to readjust her into the center of that. And yeah, I would say that's okay. We'll crop her down. I don't want to crop her too much. Her foot's already cropped off, I guess, a little bit. Okay, so I'll jump out of that, and I think that'll be okay. We'll need to put a caption under it. We had a caption before. Did I kill it? Oh, here it is. I can bring that underneath. So we have the story jumping around her for now. I need to zoom in here again to get this right. Actually, the story is going over the edge. Let me bring that back in, make sure we've got where I trying to fine-tune it and get it done. I need to make sure the box is in the right place. And I need a jump line. So I'm going to go up and copy a jump 2 from up top and bring it down. Control C and Control V and bring that down. There I go again. In this state, I previously panicked. I still have my mouse button down. I'm going to hold down the Alt button and the Tab button. That allows me to go someplace else, and usually it would be the first one. It would be the one I just came from that I didn't intend to come from. Let go, and I'm back into Quark again. So if I don't panic, I don't have to lose anything there. So I'll bring this down. I have to rewrite it, and I noticed some of you did not do that properly. Be sure it should be racing, or in this case, hiking. What did I call it up there? I better double check what I called it. I think I called it hiking. Hiking, yeah. Okay, holding down the Alt button as I do this. So it's the same as clicking on here and hitting the hand. But it doesn't work in all functions, but it works in most functions. So I'm going to go back down here, and now this is hiking. Use from, not on, from page 2. I saw some people miswording these. Be sure to word it right. It is hiking continues on page 2 and hiking continues from page 1. That's how you should word it. If you don't, you will have deductions. It doesn't make sense otherwise. Okay, so we have the jump line in. We have a caption already. We need a headline. I need to, let's see, I need to remember what I said on page 1 so I don't, actually the page 1, I think, that actually came from page 2 content. I kind of stole from page 2 for my front page headline, and so I have to be careful in how I headline the page 2 now. So that's what she's saying now. Okay, that's right. This is not at the top. This is not the top one, so I don't have to have it be too big, but I don't want it to be too small either. Okay, so I can go ahead and go in there and hit Control A to select everything, that whole headline, and I can go ahead and I may want this to be light face because the one above it is bold face, and so may want that contrast, but then it has to be bigger. So it's 36 now. Looks like I can go to about 39. That's good enough, close enough. Link there, bring that up a little bit. Okay, I showed you something yesterday in lecture and how to select multiple things at once. I guess I covered that earlier in this episode as well. But here it is again. From out here, I'm going to go to the item tool, and I'm going to start running this over to the right until it doesn't have to be over everything, but it has to be touching everything I want to select. And so from here, everything has been selected, and now I can move all of this up at once. So anyway, so it's all together now. I need to finish it up down here, and this is the question of how to do this. I don't want just one line underneath the photo. It's either none or two. Basically my choice right now. One line would look odd. So it's one or two. So then the question becomes how, I wish I could had at least one more line over here then. So can I do something to give me another line over in my last column? Sometimes I can take a long paragraph and break it in half, but this story has been written with short paragraphs, so it's not too much to break in half. I could bring the photo over into it and force the column to be narrower by the fact that the photo is wider, like that. Of course, once I do that, I can also then, I have to push this out, do the runaround. Let me try that. So I'll take the photo and ask for runaround. Runaround. And I want, particularly the right side is what I'm after. I need to run around the right side. And as I push it out, it should come down, I would think, at some point. And in fact, I will go until it comes down. So there it comes down one line. Maybe I'll even keep going and make it go down 2 lines. And I'll stretch the picture out to fit. Okay, now we're down 2 lines. It's not all even, but at least we're in the ballpark. So I will now click out of there, and I will bring the photo even further out. Oops, well, I'll bring it out, and I will reduce the runaround. I want to go to the item again, and I want to go back to the runaround and actually decrease this a little bit. Now that I've stretched the photo out, I don't need it quite so much runaround. Okay, so I will get out of that. So we're still not vertically justified, so I'm going to have to select some text and increase the leading. So I will select these 2 down here and push this bottom one down a little more by increasing the leading. That would be paragraph. So going to 30 is too much, I think. I don't think that's the, well, maybe that is the end of the story. Okay, well that goes all the way down. That actually does match. We'll go over here and do the same thing. Select a little bit of text over here and increase the runaround. And that may be just a little bit too much, so if I go up here and hit about 28, that, I think, lines everything up pretty much. Okay, so we've got the new story. We've got our best jump story in with a photo. I'm not going to try to fit anything else in, any other art in, except maybe this pull-out quote. So I'll worry about that, though, in a second. We've got problems fitting these. Now that I put in this other stuff, we've got problems fitting this stuff in without cutting. And we will probably just cut. I think one of these I can make 2 columns wide, but others I can't. This one up here I can, actually this may be the one that I'd want to box and make 2 columns wide. There we go to 2 columns, and we will go down to Control 1 so we can see it better and see what's happening here. It looks like we've got looks like we're ending the story in mid-sentence, and I don't know why. Somewhere we're playing with it. Okay, this is okay, so this is the Nauri story, and I don't know why. It looks like we can put this quote up into that paragraph and just end the quote. And so comma, he says, Danyar to me sounds like a girl's name, but in Russian, I can tell by the fact that Mac, Makhmudov is a boy's last name. The girl would be Makhmudova. Danyar can be a woman's name. So they have a number of bisexual names, or whatever you want to call that. Okay, so this one I think I want to indeed make my box story and to separate these other ones. And I will, so I will bring this over about like that. I need to bring in a box. And where is the bottom of this thing? Okay, I went down too far, so I have to go down so I can bring it up and find the bottom of it, like a bottomless well. Okay, so I will again put this in here where I can put a box around it. So I'll put in the graphic box next, about in here, give enough space to put in, to separate story and headlines. And from that we can go ahead and go to the text and give it some frame. So I'm just going to do a small half-point frame on it. However, I think in order to add a little color, this is what I'm going to make, put some color in. And so I'm going to go ahead and go over here and choose the Dusty, if I find it, Dusty. And I need to send that to the back. And either that or change the opacity, but I think if I just send it to back, we'll be okay. The question will be whether I have to put that into white text or not. For now, I won't. But I do need I need a jump. This box is going to have to be a little bit bigger, I think, in order to put in a headline and a jump line. So first off, I'll put in the headline. And again, I need to start out here, and then I'll take it in. That doesn't... two columns, I'm supposed to have at least a two-line headline. I'm running out of space. I'm not sure what I'm going to do here. I don't want to, by putting in that extra story, I really need the extra story. But it's making me make some compromises down here, but compromises you might have to make. So cutting stories or whatever. So we will leave it at that. Seems very small. By the time I pump it up, I don't think it's going to fit. That's 14 point, and you go at least 18. Well, that's 18, so I just need to get rid of those last few lines, I guess. Well, I put in some articles, the and the A's, or the specifically. And I don't need this last part, so I'll be able to make the text a little bit bigger. So if I click in here and hit Shift Enter, kick width over to the bottom, then that's going to become close enough. But I need to make it a little bigger and bolder. That is 18. Maybe I'll just go bold then for the moment and see what that does. And I think I will just go use that other tool again under text and increase the width of those letters. I don't want to use any more depth. So with that, it's a little bolder. And I can, and I need to bring down a jump line. So I'll go borrow one from this story real quick. Control C, Control V, and bring it down. I don't, kind of think about it, jump lines don't make for good two-column stories because of this configuration. So I'm going to go back and tell it to, I'm going to go up and tell it to be 2 columns. And that happens to meet just right. I think the text will be readable. It's readable here, and this, certainly on the screen, on the monitor it is. So I'm going to leave it at that. Now I've got so little space over here. I think I'm going to have to, oh, this can't be hiking anymore. This is now Reese. Ooh, hiking nin. I think I must have made that mistake up above. I better go up there. I need to bring the paragraph that over. And I need to go up and see if I misspelled it up here, hiking nin. You start talking and thinking and working at the same time. It doesn't always, at least for me, I don't do it well sometimes. Okay, so I'm thinking I'm going to have to well, that's not much jump. With the jumps, if you have that little jump, you can probably make exceptions to the rules. With this jump, once I go to 2 columns, maybe a 1-line headline might work in this tiny spot rather than trying to go do other weird stuff. I could cut the story above it. Let's see what this does if I come over and it's too much. Ay. This is the running story, I believe. Well, maybe it might fit if I cut off after this. Let me see if I cut off the last 2 paragraphs. I'm going to hit Control X so that I can still have it in memory. So Control X is cut and it puts it in memory. So in doing that, I can see if I think there's a chance, so I need to bring this over. I will know. Well, not quite, but it does suggest that maybe I could either cut the Nari story or make only a 1-line headline up there too. So I could do that. We normally in 2 columns want a 2-line headline, but for jumps, where there's just so little jump, we can make exceptions to that. So this now can be, instead of whatever it was, 18, we can go up to at least 20. Well, I thought we could. 19 then. And we can then bring the jump line and the text on up, and reduce the size of the box, and bring the storyline, this other last jump up. We'll need a jump line on that too, however. But actually all that looks like it will fit if I'm going to copy this text box, the headline text box, and bring this down, Control V, oops, yeah. Anyway, so bring that down and make a new headline for this new short headline. And bring this up and copy this jump line and bring down here. And if I bring this down just a little bit and just push this down a little bit, then we can get it even out just by giving a little space there, maybe. And I'm going to have to, I actually think maybe it'd be better then to cut in here and make a new paragraph. And add an attribution, which will kick it over. Oops. Trying to add another line here, so I got to think what to say. I don't like to change attribution from says, but in this case, to make it leave it out, I will. Without I will add another type of attribution. This seems not to line up with the one next to it, so I will choose that one paragraph, and oh no, that's actually where I can lengthen the jump line box or make it smaller. I can't make it any smaller. So yes, I'm going to have to put a little more line spacing in this paragraph. Very little. So go from I need to go to paragraph and go to like 21, 22. Maybe 20, oops, select it again, and 23. That looks like that lines up. Okay, but I need a new headline. So this is okay. I can select all of that and just bring it down about 1 point size, down to 18. Again, we try not to use the word and either, and in place of and we put in a comma. So that's headlinees. Runner intermix is running, comma, walking. Runner intermix is running, walking. So you need to remember that too. I've already explained that, but some of you didn't remember that. Okay, so over here we want another, we don't have a box in here yet. So we need a headline box, and it needs to come out even with the top of that box. So in this story, we'll just cut to fit. This is the story about what? Well, let me figure that out before I write a headline and go get its jump line, or get a jump line. So this is the story about the cycle racing. Let me see how much left we have. We are going to have to cut quite a bit, actually. But if we're going to put in that extra story, that's what we have to do. So, I do need a jump line, and what did I call the, either need to revise the one up here, or I need to, so I just call it racing. I think I'll just, about the same either way. I'll copy this one, and I will bring it down. So this one is racing. That's how I got that screwed up before. I brought down hiking and I typed in racing after cutting off the RAC in it, or the whatever. Anyway, end up with two INGs somehow. So all I really need to do here is now put in a, no way I'm going to put in the shadow box now. Not worth it. We've got plenty of, we've got, we made a colorized box, not a shadow box, but colorized box out of one of the stories. So that adds some art element at the bottom, just putting that color in there. And so I'll cut this story. I'll put in a headline, cut the story, and I'll be done. So, type it in here. And looking at text within this jump to try to come up with the headline. So Kazakh racer Okay, we'll try to see if that fits. We will want that to, well, that could even be light. We've got dark ones to the right of it. So let's just see where we get with the light face and try to go one more. That's too much. Besides, so I'm holding down again the shift control greater than, so now I go lesser than and go back again. And I think I will bring down the story and the jump line and just go ahead and worry about the headline first and then bring it up. Again, I chose both of those in this case just by clicking on one and shift clicking the other one selects two items. So I clicked on one, shift clicked on the other, and grabbed both of them. Okay, so now see what I can do to make this. It doesn't look like it's the wording is such that it's going to even out very closely. If I go just a little bit bigger, it's now 24. Let's go 28. See how close we get. That's even too big. 27. The extra line here. Well, that's between the words. So let's go to 26. Okay. within 3 characters, so I can leave it like this in theory, but I am, being a good editor, you have to be a perfectionist, and so you look at this and wonder, can I make it even closer? Cardiac racer injured as he loses control, cycle, crashes. Is this a different size? So I didn't do a select all, so that actually should be, let me bring that down. So if I select all, it should all be 26, yeah. If this disappears, that means there's more than one size that I've selected. So, so that's a telltale sign. So it's less than 3 characters. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm tired and hungry, and I'm going to go get something to eat, but I'm going to then finish this up. I'll bring this up, bring up the jump line. Racing continues from page 1. I will bring up the story. I can't grab it. I can't go low enough to grab it, so I'm going to have to bring it down here first and then go back up until I can see the bottom of it. And now grab the bottom, bring it up. See how that matches with the ones next to it? It doesn't quite. That's a short paragraph, trying to add just a little bit more. I'm going to come down here. And basically I will kill the rest of that. I don't want to take the chance of it coming up and biting me later, so I'm going to go ahead and draw a text box out here, see what I have left. I'll link the two. So link and kill. I'm not going to leave it in memory and leave a chance that it will somehow come up into the visible space. So I'm going to select everything that's not used and get rid of it to ensure that I don't have that problem. It doesn't quite line up, so again I can just select, this is so little, I'm just going to select the bottom paragraph and go up 1 point at a time, 21, 22, maybe go to jump to 23, see if that fits. Oh, but we need a little bit more to match up over here. I forgot about that. So I'm going to bring down a guide and line up the bottom, just the base, I think, of the neighboring one. And so actually that's really close to line up the first line. The second line, I'm surprised at how close they are, actually. It looked like it was more than that. But I will again select that last paragraph and go up to maybe 24, just go up just enough to see if I can match that. I'd say probably 25. The line to the right is just a little bit into the, in fact, I might even go 2 more, maybe go to 27, still not lining up. Okay, I think that's close enough. Now I need line up something over here to bring this down a little bit more too. I will go jump to about 22. That seems to match the one to the right better than, that's really close. I'm going to say that's good enough. I'm anal, but not that anal, I guess. So looking at the page, we've got a golden triangle on page 2 as well. Headlines that fit. I didn't put any sub-headlines in on page 2. If I was going to do one, it would be for the first story, but I knew I was going to be crowded for space, and I didn't want to cut any more than I had to, so I didn't put in a jump line on the first one either. And I don't think we need, or a subheadline. I don't think we need subheadlines on for most of the jump page for the jumps. Headline is adequate. But if you're putting in another story and you have room for a subheadline, then that would be best practices. But you then have to start weighing whether or not you are going to, how much you're going to have to cut and everything else. There's other issues that are involved. So I think this is a nice looking page 2, and I'm happy with it as it is. Okay, so I will make a copy of this. So this shows you how to wrap up. I kind of gave you some new ideas for page 1 as I redid page 1 to make that picture a little bit bigger. That does dominate the page. That maybe is too big. If I had to do over again, the thing is, you don't want to bring this hammerhead down too close to her. You can go to the right a little bit, but you still, I don't want it right on the edge. So it's pretty close to her. If I bring it down, it's going to be right in front of her. I don't think I could crop a little bit more, but I mean, at this point, I'm certainly not going to do it. I'm done, tired, and I think this is more than good enough. In comparing it to at least in this tutorial 1, where I'm finishing this after all the students have left, we saw some interesting layouts from the front pages of some of the top newspapers in America: New York Times, LA Times, Washington Post, so forth. Personally, I think this is as good or better than any of those. This is only tabloid, those are broadsheet, but this only has one box. There's argument over whether we lines or boxes. This has only one box on it. Page 2 only has one box. So if you design properly, you can get away from having a lot of boxes, and yet I think the box looks better than the lines. Nonetheless, I admit that the norm seems to be going to lines rather than boxes. I don't necessarily agree that that's best practice, but I agree that it's the norm. But nonetheless, for this assignment and for this semester, I'm the executive editor, and I decide what the layout style is. And my layout style is to use box, try to use just one box, maybe 2 boxes at the most on a page, whether it's broadsheet or tabloid. And do that instead of putting lines all over the place like some of the other papers are doing. So with that, I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you. I'll put a copy of this, PDF copy of it, onto Moodle.